Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk About Ice one more night, Thursday night here on the Gold Coast. Guys, before we actually start, I just want to ask you personally if you can please share the link to this on your page. You don't know who's out there that needs to hear this message tonight. It's a deep message, and it's an incredible story of redemption and how this amazing young man next to me actually got his life back. So I do ask you right now if you can please share this on your page before we even start. And I really look forward to hearing Warren's story, and I'm sure you will too. So thank you for joining us. Just before we start, for those of you that followed us on a current affair last night, thank you. Current affair have been keeping track on our work, and we were able to help another mum out there. So thank you to a current affair. It is up online, so if you want to watch it and you haven't seen it, it is up there, and you can do that. The other thing is that for some reason our phone lines, right after the show, our phone lines were cut off, so they went down. Apparently they're going to be down for 24 hours, but if you have if you need to ring us and it's an emergency, you can contact us on our emergency number, and that is our old family support number, which is 0481 844 555. So Brad will put that up on the screen right now. And guys, you can always private message us on Facebook, or email us off our website, which is www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. And don't forget our Neo brand. Oh, I'm wearing not even ones, but don't forget our Neo brand, guys. If you have presents to buy, and we've got our Neo t-shirts and caps and mugs. So if you have presents to buy for people and you don't know what to get, here's a way that you can get a present and support a good cause. Alright, throwing stuff at me again. So here's our Neo cap. This is my favourite one. It has all the little Neos right along here, and no to ice, guys. And thank you to Eagle Trailers and Campers for the sponsorship to produce this line. And if you drink coffee, tea, hot chocolate, Bonox, whatever you like, or water, it actually holds water really well. You can get your black mug, Neo mug, say no to ice, not even once. Did you like that? Or water. You got to drink something. No, I won't put that one on because I'll end up wearing it. We'll do that one next time.
It's a beanie.
It's a beanie. It's a beanie. It's one of those like the AFL ones.
That's right, the pom-pom on the top.
Pom-pom. But we do have a shop on our webpage, and if you're interested in helping out and getting something from our shop, please hop online, www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. We have CDs, we have caps, we have beanies. There's some really cool. The grey beanie's really cool. We have our mugs, and of course my Highway Destruction CD, and somebody else's CD is going to be up there soon. Some music, yeah, awesome. I look forward to it. Guys, I'd like you to welcome on the show today Warren, who's going to share his story. And it's not an easy thing to do, to sit here on this couch and to talk to a camera and to really, go inside and relive the journey. We're doing this because we want you to understand the journey of ice addiction. We want you to understand what happens in somebody's life that when you decide to say, yeah, I'll give that a try, or I'll go down that path, and in hope that you don't have to make the same mistakes that we did. And as you know, physically I have scarring from it. And I don't know anybody that doesn't from coming out of Ice World, but we've been blessed to have the opportunity to come out of that world and to be able to do something about it. So if you want to help in any of the states that we operate in, send us a message, go onto our webpage. We have Volunteer With Us, but I encourage you to join the AAIC Army. Okay, we are signing a petition in the Army there. You can sign the petition to get lived experience education into our schools and into our communities across Australia. And I just encourage you to become part of the change, guys. Yeah, join the AIC Army today, so you can do that on our webpage. Without further ado, Warren, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
Warren is new to our team and our family, and we're just so blessed to have him here. It's been an absolute delight to have here this week, and we get to laugh a lot and talk about music and talk about all kinds of things. But
Music, yeah.
what we haven't talked about yet, and I know a little bit about your story, very minimal, and I have, because we've always got our head down and working on our phones with people, I haven't had an opportunity to really share with you your journey, and I'm looking forward to, and I know it's a deep one, but I want our followers out there, I want people to hear that story, Warren, because I think it's important that people understand how easy it is for a life to be destroyed.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's it takes over your life and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You get sidetracked. You get addicted to what you want, and for you and I, and for people out there, it was the payout that we get for being on drugs.
Yeah.
And it sidetracked me so many times, and when I think I was getting back on the straight and narrow, no, it was just another sort or another type, or I was changing one addiction to another.
Wow.
And that's when I realised I had real problems.
Wow, so that's important what you just said about changing one addiction to the other, because some people abstain from, like they say, oh, I won't use that drug. I'm clean. I'm not an addict anymore. But they actually move their addiction somewhere else.
They do, absolutely. Sorry. You need a good foundation, and this is what I missed in all these years. I thought I had it, but I didn't. I wasn't getting to the source of the problem.
Yep.
Like building a house, you've got to have a good slab so you can build a great foundation. You can't just dig in the dirt and build a house.
Mm-hmm.
You need a good foundation, and that was what I was missing.
That's awesome. I want to go back, Warren. That's really important, and hold that thought, guys, because we will revisit that a little bit deeper moving forward. But I want to go back to, I guess, paint us a picture of how, how it all started. Like, what was your life like? And we always using drugs. How did it start?
Grew up youngest of 4 boys. Dad worked. Mum was a house, like a house mum. Mum started working, and then things between us 4 boys started getting really bad.
What does that mean? Like, were you guys punching on, or?
Oh, punching on.
Yeah.
Trying to hurt each other as much as we possibly could.
Yeah.
Throw in the mix of all this sexual molestation and all those sorts of things as well. Yes, I was raped as a kid.
Wow.
I can't even remember how old I was. All I know is I was still in kindergarten or first class. It was pretty young, and it continued for a while. But then, I blanked out quite a lot of those years because I just didn't want to face it. And so that's what happened. But then it wasn't only with me, it was with my other brothers as well.
Yeah.
But we only found that out 10 or so years ago.
Wow. Because nobody talks about that kind of stuff. Nobody wants to, you don't, how was it? You don't know what to say. How do you approach that?
Well, you can't. And that's the thing, until people are ready,
Yeah.
you can't touch the subject. I tried bringing it up, like I'm 48. I confronted this approximately in my 30s. My brothers are all older than me. My oldest one is almost 8 years older, and then there's 6, and then 4, and then myself. I confronted them about it. They weren't ready.
Wow.
They just brushed me off.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad were like, what's going on? Why are you like you are?
Yeah.
And it finally came out. I finally told them.
That's deep, Warren, because thank you for sharing that, because I think it's important for us to add the pieces of the puzzle together in certain circumstances. Not everybody has an issue. Like myself, I didn't have a reason to to touch it, but it was naivety and stupidity and curiosity, and thought it wouldn't happen to me. But sometimes there are underlying issues, and most of the time there are stuff that we're running away from and seeking, and trying to mask. So it's important to get all the pieces of the puzzle together here. Question for you: did your brothers turn to drugs too?
Yes.
Wow.
We all did.
Incredible. Wow. So when did you decide to try substance?
Okay. I started playing music when I was really young, and I was playing with people that were a lot older than me, and they used to come over, hang out, you know. And when Mum and Dad wasn't there, which is a lot of the time because they were too busy working and trying to raise us and keep the roof over our head, people would just come in and out, and they'd be drinking, or in this case doing drugs. I think I was about 12 years old when I got handed my first joint.
Wow.
It was a hash joint.
Yeah.
And I coughed and spluttered, but at the end I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
At that age I didn't even know what tobacco was.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he was a mate of the family.
Yep.
And I found out my older brother was doing it with him at that time.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they just handed it to me and said, here you go, try this.
Yeah, yeah.
And I loved it.
It temporarily masked everything, didn't it? Did it numb you? What were you thinking?
I was thinking, how good is this? What is it? And how long's it been going for?
Yep. Yep.
That's what I was thinking.
And you had no idea what it was actually doing to you internally, mentally, and at 12, like, you know, guys, some of the youth that we work with, you know, they go, oh, it's just a bit of pot, you know, it's just a bit of marijuana, like it's no big deal. Let me tell you something, right? Long-term use of marijuana gives you schizophrenia. That's a fact. It kills off brain cells. But further to that, nowadays they're actually lacing marijuana with ice. You know, they're lacing it with other substances and chemicals as well. You know, so when we go into the schools, we warn the kids about this. What does it look like? Why are they doing that? They're doing that so they can get you addicted. Your frontal lobe stops operating, and very quickly they transfer you to another drug, or they get you to deal for them because you need the substance. So this is actually going on out there. So you just need to be aware. You know, two things. One, long-term use of marijuana actually does, you know, it does give you schizophrenia. It leads to that. But you know, the lacing of the marijuana out there today, you just need to be aware of that, hey? So yeah, I was surprised when I heard about the lacing of marijuana. I'm like, yeah, and then we had it tested. Actually had it tested because one of the girls that came in to work with us was showing symptoms coming down, like, as if she was coming down from ice, and she said, well, I've only just used marijuana, and I'm like, well, she goes, I still got some at home, so we took it to a lab and it was laced. And I'm like, you're kidding me, it's true. Like, I actually thought it was just like, you know, a story out there.
It does happen.
Yeah, it does happen. So,
yeah.
So you started using a bit of pot and I guess probably started drinking in that arena.
Drinking came later.
Yeah.
At that time I was playing trombone.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of touring, different states, different towns, away from Mum and Dad, being chaperoned by older blokes in the band and stuff like that. So I really actually took to drinking like duck to water.
Yep.
What I mean by that is would be on a tour bus, say going from Sydney to Adelaide, stop somewhere in the middle of nowhere at a service station. I used to have like Jim Beam and Coke on my cornflakes.
Wow.
For breakfast.
Wow.
I loved it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the pot at that stage was put aside. So I concentrated on drinking, and I could easily polish off at that age a bottle of whiskey.
Wow.
Sitting on the back seat of the bus, on the tour bus. All right, stop at the next place, get another bottle.
Wow.
And that's what it was all about for me. It was, and I really don't even know what stopped it. In 1988, Rolf Harris did a gig for the Scout World Jamboree down at Cataract, out the back of New South Wales.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing in a band with him that night. When I finished, I got off, did a bottle of whiskey before I got home.
Wow.
I got home, Mum and Dad took one look at me and said, oh, how you going? They had no idea.
How old were you?
14, 15.
Oh my goodness.
And they're just like, oh, how are you? I said, I'm really tired, you know, because I could really hold my liquor.
Yeah.
And they're going, okay, go to bed, I'll see you when you wake up. So they really had no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
I toured overseas at 15, the same sort of thing. Drunk every night. didn't touch the sides. You know,
Yeah.
like that was the go-to.
Yes.
That was the crutch. So I'm
Yeah.
playing music, loving playing music, but as soon as I come off, I had 20 hours before the next gig in the
Yeah.
next town. You're into it,
Yeah.
plus you've got older people around you,
Yes.
and they're not feeding it to you, but they're supporting you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we're doing it, it's no big deal.
But that's
and so,
exactly
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So they're all getting drunk and drinking and smoking and stuff like that, and I'm young and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do it. They give me some. They see I can handle myself on it,
Yep.
so they give me more.
Yep, yep,
Next minute, it's a habit.
yeah, yeah. So how long did this go on for Warren? Like,
The alcohol went on for about 3 years, 4 years, and mind you, I was smoking cigarettes at that age too.
yep,
And I was loving life, you know, getting paid to play music.
Mhm.
Back then there was no GST, there was no nothing, it was all cash in hand,
yep,
buckets to spend, it was beautiful.
yep,
So I got to about 17, 18, and pot was rampant in the area.
yep.
That was the switch over between when it was growing naturally
Yes, it's indeed.
to hydroponically.
Yes. Mm.
So all these buds were coming through and they were bigger and better and fluffier and nicer and more crystallised and gave you more of a punch.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found out that coming off pot was a lot easier than coming off alcohol.
Mm.
That's all I needed.
Yeah, yeah,
Bang, straight onto that.
yeah.
And that went nearly, okay, I'm not ashamed to say this, nearly every week until about 5 years ago.
Wow, wow, wow. How did your body handle that?
It didn't. I've had 3 or 4 nervous breakdowns.
Wow,
I've had 2 lots of brain surgery.
wow.
I can't, people say when you're at Woodstock you can't remember the 60s. I can't remember the 90s, and I was just talking to my brother about this today. I was married at the end of the 90s, I had kids in the 90s. I remember my kids being born, everything else. I bought houses, all that sort of stuff. I
Wow.
cannot remember.
That's incredible. So you were talking to me the other day and saying if it wasn't for the photos, some of these tours that you did, like
That's right.
you have no recollection of it.
That's correct.
That's incredible. Guys, see, you're hearing this, guys. You know, if you're using and abusing substance, this is, you know, this is what you're looking forward to. This is the road that you're going down, you know. And I don't know about you, but, you know, after Ice World, a lot of my memory from my kids being brought up and things that I had done, I haven't got anymore. And, you know, and even short-term retention, you know, now, you know, I really have to work hard and it's a struggle, but it affects your brain. It's, you know, it gives you brain damage, it affects your brain.
Oh.
So whether it's alcohol, pot, or ice, you know, it's all doing damage. You've got to really think about this, guys, because this is long-term. You know, I'm 48 too now, and I just wish that somebody had shown me what was ahead, and I could have taken back time, and I can't do that, but we certainly can warn the next generation. We certainly can share what happened to us, and we were the lucky ones. Hey, we're still here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it went on the bigger and better.
Yeah. What happened then? Tell me. How did you transfer? I want to hear, you know, how it escalated. Did you try other drugs?
Oh yeah, it just didn't stop there. As you said about lacing, I become a roadie
Yep.
for a lot of rock and roll bands, as well as still playing the trombone and doing all that sort of stuff. One night we're doing a gig at the General Burke at Parramatta, I think it was. One of the fellow roadies said, "Here, try some of this." And I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, there's something not right about this, but I'll smoke it anyway. It was laced with opium.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so yeah, it can be laced. All of it is actually, even all hydroponic stuff, it's laced with chemicals. That's how it grows and that's how it gives you the buzz. But this was opium, and I couldn't do the gig.
Wow. Let's go back a bit, because some of our listeners might not have touched drugs. There might be families watching, and people just wanting to get, you know, to understand about this ice epidemic and ice problem that we have across our nation and in fact across the world. But some people haven't tried these things. So can you paint a bit of a paint a bit of a picture of what's the difference, like what happens when you take marijuana and then what happens when you take opium? Like,
Okay, marijuana is, well, to me, I'm a functioning, up until like 5 or 6 years ago, I was a functioning pothead. So I could be stoned, which is equivalent to, say, drinking 2 or 3 schooners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you feel nice and relaxed and everything's cool and you just want to chill out.
Yep.
You don't have any bad thoughts or bad vibes. Everything's lovely. Everything's positive. You just go on your day. When I had this opium, after I'd smoked it, it was like I was wrapped in cotton wool. It was like I was up in the clouds. I felt invincible. I was wrapped. I was comfortable. I couldn't even think. All I was doing was vomiting in the corner.
Wow. Yeah.
That's all I could do. When that stopped, then it was just like, wow, man. I couldn't talk. I just sat there. I was like a zombie. I just sat there going, man.
Wow, what happened? And what happened after that? Like, how did you escalate onto ice? I want to hear.
Well, again,
and I want to hear your thought process behind it too, Ryan, because that's important. When we go into the classrooms, we talk about, you know, it's important that the kids understand we all have the same, you know, oh, why not? Yeah, it's no big deal. Won't happen to me, you know. But I want to hear what your thought process was.
Because I was molested as a kid, I had the biggest chip on my shoulder. I hated the world.
Yeah.
I used to get into more fights and I'd have hot dinners there at one stage. I did not care. I didn't like anybody. I had respect for mum and dad and my brothers, but everybody else was fair game. So if you looked at me sideways, come here, buddy, we've got to have a chat. That was my thought process at the time. I had a death wish. I didn't care if I lived or died. Nobody could understand me. Nobody could talk to me. On the outside, I was normal. But on the inside, I was screaming. Absolutely screaming. I was in so much pain.
And nobody knew?
No.
That's amazing.
No. And the more I was in pain, believe it or not, the more I turned to music. The more I turned to music, the more I turned to other drugs. Because as you get bigger, as you start doing more, other things get offered to you. And that's exactly how I moved on.
Wow. Okay.
It was like, after I was smoking pot for a while, I'm thinking, yeah, this is okay. But then a mate came up to me at a gig one day in Ashfield, I think it was, in Sydney, and he had this red liquid. He goes, try this, and I'm like, what? He put a tally-ho paper, folded it up, pulled out a little vial, put the tally-ho paper in, soaked it up, stuck it in my mouth, said, chew on that. I'm like, yeah, right, yeah. And I was doing a gig that night. So I chewing on it, and then get up on stage. And because when I was on stage, I didn't drink. I only drank Coke, right? I had a schooner of Coke, and bang, I was on my way. This was what they call ox blood. Ox blood. It was liquefied pure speed.
Wow.
Before they crystallised it and cooked it down, the liquid, that was what they used to make amphetamines out of.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And I loved it. That was the beginning as far as I was concerned. I'm like, no, forget the rest of this. I want that. So I chased it. I used to go after people who had it and buy it off them.
Wow.
I couldn't function without it.
And because you had the money, you know, you were playing, the money was rolling in, nothing was really stopping you. So the guys around you at the time, were they doing the drugs too?
Of course they were.
This? Yep. So were they the ones like supplying you? Were you buying off them, or did you go? Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
no. It's good to hear this because you know people think, oh no, you got to hunt down a dealer, and you know it's everywhere. It's actually,
no, you don't. If you think about it enough or put it out there enough, it will find you. And that's what happened here.
You just need to go, excuse me, do you know I can get to the next person down the road? And I kid you not, you can just go into a bottle or, you know, down the road and you can score. So this is why, guys, we do what we do. Education, lived experience, education is the key to protecting your kids. Because it's out there, they're going to get offered it. Especially today, ice is just being made in backyards. There's been many examples of people calling us and their kids are in hospital. And schools, up in Cairns, 12 kids in hospital. It's out there. It's going to get offered. And if they don't understand what it is, what it looks like, what it's going to do to them, and the long-term consequences with that, let me tell you something that, there's tests done by universities that in New South Wales actually, that ice use 6 times by a youth shows brainwave patterns of early onsets of Parkinson's. Just 6 times. They've used it 6 times. The brainwave patterns change. Yeah? And so this is why we think it's critical and it's important to get in front of our youth today, because it's out there, it's going to get pushed on them, and if they don't understand what it looks like, the different forms it comes in, that it can be put in water, that it can be pink, blue, purple, called all different types of names. If they don't understand that, they don't have an opportunity to talk to somebody that's been there, they're at risk. Just understand that. So if your youth is in a school, knock on your school's door. Say, look, I want my kid educated with lived experience. There's nothing better than somebody that's been somewhere, been damaged by it, and they've managed to come out and the other side and to be able to get in front of your kid. So that's how important it is. This amazing man, he's sitting here sharing the details of his journey, and he was a kid, and being handed over drugs, and that's what, 15, 20 years, ago.
Yep.
Today, more so. Everything's accessible. You can even get ice online, believe it or not. You can order it and it gets delivered to your door. So protection, education is prevention for your kids. Just get that.
It is, and you touched on a really good subject, is you don't have to be and take it as it's prescribed on TV.
Yeah.
You can drink it, you can swallow it, you can wrap it up in a piece of tissue, you can do whatever you want with it. And that in itself, anyway.
Smoked in a light globe, I had no idea till I had no idea this world existed. Absolutely no. I was so naive to this world, until I fell in it, and then it was too late. So protection of your kids is just so critical to us. Let's move on. What happened from there, Warren? I want to hear the rest of the journey. So you started using this speed, and you were about, what? How old were you then?
17, 18.
Wow.
And I loved it. I found my drug.
Yep.
I was home and hosed with this. It was great. I found the little perks a way around coming down, and then if I did have to come down, how I could level that out with another drug. So basically, I used to go on benders, like 2-3 day benders, not sleep, just be totally off chops. I'd go to come down. Now, if I wanted to come down slowly, I'd sit there and smoke, say, 2.5-3 grams of pot. So then here I am mixing a downer with an upper.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's how I used to get around that. Or the other way around it was, I just stayed off chops. I just kept on taking it.
Yep.
Every opportunity, as it was in the end, I was taking it morning, noon and night.
How many nervous breakdowns did you say you had?
3.
Uppers and downers, you got a short wire somewhere, and this is all consequences of drug world, and so you started using uppers, downers, a bit, it sounds like you hear about these things in the movies, the rock stars, and they go and they're on the uppers and they take downers, and then you see Elvis, like, bang, it won't happen to me though,
Oh yes, it will.
Is that what you were thinking though?
No, because I had a death wish back then.
Yeah, okay.
I did not care.
Yeah.
I did not care. I think I was 21. I rang my brother and said, I want to try and top myself because I'm over it.
Wow.
He went searching. Him and my best mate come searching for me and found me. And that's how, in the end, it was, because I couldn't get any higher.
Yep.
And I couldn't get any lower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though you looked at me on the outside, I was still who I was.
Yeah. But inside you.
But up here,
Yeah.
oh man, I was like a yo-yo.
What was going on in here, Warren, so we can understand the inside, you know? Because a lot of parents are watching and they got their kids that are using and they're like, you know, looking for insight. What's going on?
No one understands me. I can't speak to you because one, I'm too paranoid, or you wouldn't understand, or you've never used it, so how would you know?
Yeah.
How would you know? Not only that, there has to be an underlying issue somewhere, and if there is, you won't be spoken to about it as a parent.
Yeah.
So in my case, I would never tell my mum and dad because actually I blocked all that out.
Yep.
I had no idea why I was being like this.
Yeah.
So here I was, 20 years old, no idea why I wanted to top myself. Couldn't tell mum and dad the reason why because at that stage, one, I wasn't ready for it, and two, I really didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, so if I didn't know, how could I take that across?
Yeah.
But I was screaming for help.
Yeah. I hear you. And we get calls, guys, like this every day here at AIC. You know, people out there get to understand if, you know, if they're in addiction and they're in that cycle and they want to get out and they're screaming for help and they make a split-second decision, I need help, I don't know where to go, they're more likely to talk to one of us, because we've actually been there, than to talk to a parent or a family member or go to a counsellor. I remember the first time I went into a counsellor and she says, you know, she sat there and she looked nice and she was taking notes and she says, you shouldn't feel like that. And I went, wait. I said, have you ever been where I am right now? Have you ever felt what I'm going through? She said, well, no, but I studied it. And I got up and I swore and I went, how would you know? And I walked out, right? At that moment I was at risk, okay, because I was suicidal. I could have relapsed. And I was blessed to have amazing people around me that had been through stuff that was able to go, hey, I know what you're going through and I understand and we're going to work this out together. And they would then help me. And I'm going to do a little segment about the key things that helped me recover so that you can understand what I did in my journey in the early stages of recovery, and music was one of them, you know, but my buddy, which is what we offer out there to community, people like us become buddies, we've been through it, we've got a heart to help someone else that, you know, wants to get out of Ice World or out of addiction, and we walk with them. So we go, know what you're going through, let's go to music, let's go and, you know, and we give them options of things to do and we help them create pathways into detox, recovery house if they need to, and just love on them until we get clean time up, you know, and you start to repair the melon, as George puts it. And that takes time, especially with ice, guys. It can take up to from 12 to 18 months for the frontal lobe of the brain to be totally recovered with the chemical balance. So it's a long time recovery with ice, yeah. So let's go back to nobody understood.
Yep.
You couldn't talk to anybody, and then you clouded it so much and pushed it away so much that you didn't know what was the underlying issue anymore, so you took more drugs.
Of course I did.
Yeah. Of course.
Sorry.
What was the next drug of choice?
After that was cocaine.
Wow. Okay. So what does cocaine do to you? I don't know these things.
No, that's
I've gone
okay.
straight into ice water.
Cocaine's a stimulant.
Yeah.
Really, you're bulletproof. Your euphoria is out of this world. But the thing with coke, it doesn't last as long.
Okay.
Right? So,
and it's really expensive.
Oh my oath it
right?
is, yeah. Now it is. Back then, it helped to know the dealers, you know?
Yeah,
So that was how I got around it. But yeah, it wouldn't last as long and it wouldn't give you the uplift that you were looking for.
Yep.
Like when I used to smoke pot, it used to get to a certain level and I couldn't go any higher.
Mm-hmm.
I found ways to get higher.
Yep.
This was the same.
Yeah.
Here I was taking coke at work, totally, I don't know what I was thinking, every day.
Yep.
And so when I wanted to get higher, I used to mix it with speed.
So how do you take Coke?
Just chop it up, put it on a plate because it comes in a white or pinkish glug sort of thing.
Yep.
Put a bit of powder to it, or you just dry it out a bit and just chop it up, put it on a plate, snort it, or you can drink it. Or my way of choice was what they call bombing it. I put in a tissue.
Yep.
And I just swallow it.
In a tissue?
In a tissue.
Wow, okay.
And nobody knew what was going on. I just have a drink of water afterwards, or drink a Coke.
Yep.
And off you go. Because
Wow.
one thing I did find is that, and I know it's really weird, but when I used to drink Coke on it, it used to get me a little bit higher.
Okay, yeah, 'cause yeah, caffeine in it.
Right,
Mixed
so the
up,
caffeine
yeah,
would
yeah.
mix with the amphetamine
Yeah.
or the stimulant
Wow,
and push you a little bit higher again.
wow.
So that's why I gave up drinking alcohol all the time,
Yes, yeah.
because I used to do that.
Replaced, yep. So you
course.
moved from drug to drug to drug.
Of course,
And
yeah.
I guess the next one was heroin?
Yeah, I tried that. Yeah, I didn't like that. That
Yeah.
wasn't for me.
Yeah.
That took me back to when I smoked the opium,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's the same
Downer.
base.
Yeah.
It's a downer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that I did not like that at all,
Yeah.
because you couldn't function.
Yeah.
You would sit there and you would be a vegetable.
So did you shoot up?
No.
No? Okay, so
Oh.
you drank that?
I tried shooting up twice,
Yeah.
and it was, I hate saying this, too good.
Yeah.
It was too quick,
Yeah.
too pure, too much of a rush.
Mm-hmm.
I like letting it feel come on.
Yep.
So I sort of like felt that I was still in control,
Yes.
and that was the big thing. As long as I felt I was in control,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
was invincible.
Yeah.
But I wasn't.
But you weren't, that's right. It only made you feel like that.
That's exactly
Yeah.
correct. I had no control over this whatsoever.
Yeah.
If I even thought about running out, I would start panicking.
Yeah.
If I thought that I was running dry, that I had nothing left,
Mm.
I'd be ringing up my dealer 24 hours beforehand saying, bro,
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing it's there relieved me.
Yeah.
If I couldn't get on or I couldn't find any,
Yeah.
I'd
So
go to
that's how-
I'd crawl up in a corner and go to sleep early,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to deal with anybody and nobody had to put up with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was me. And because back then, a really big stigmatism about you're a male, you don't talk.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't talk. You're a male.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Get up.
Yeah.
Take some concrete. Harden up.
What a lie that is. You know what?
That was the worst thing I ever did.
Guys, you know, if I pinch Warren, it hurts just as much as if you pinch me. So we're all the same inside. You know, this might be the outer shell, male, female, no Greek, no Jew. You know, we're all the same inside, and it's okay to talk. It's okay to reach out for help. Yeah, we're not invincible. We're all broken, and we all have skeletons in the closet. And if you say you don't, you're lying, right? So, you know, reach out for help. Substance like drugs is not going to make your problems any better. It's actually going to add a whole heap of massive problems, and some of those problems you can't erase. Some of those things that you go through in drug world, you can't take back, you can't erase. So, you know, when we talk in the classrooms, you know, we talk to the kids, you know, you have school chaplains, you have counsellors, you have friends. If you can't talk to them, even message us, you know, talk to somebody, you know, because it's okay to talk, because drug world's going to give you a whole heap of other problems. It's going to come down like a ton of bricks. But we all have problems. We overcome them. We overcome them with friends, family, people that care about us, and holding hands, you know, linking arms and saying, you know, we're going to face this together.
And there was one thing also that stopped me. I thought I'd be judged.
Yep.
And that was, for me, being a musician, being a proud, borderline basically narcissistic, egotistical, look at me,
Yep.
being judged, I put up with it every day. I didn't want to hear negatives. So when you're in that mindset as well, you don't want to talk because you think that they're gonna judge you.
Yeah. And you've got a whole persona and a whole front going on, but inside you're screaming.
Absolutely. All I wanted was help and support.
Yeah.
Now, if I got that in my early stages where I knew I had a problem, it could have saved me 20 years of grief and about $500,000.
Yeah. So is that why you're studying what you're studying now?
Bang.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Lived experience, youth counsellors. Wow.
If I had the help, good pickup. That was great. I'm doing community services and counselling, guys. I've worked in a warehouse and that for the last 10, 15 years. I'm totally changed my life around to help, because if I had that at that age, it could have saved me so much.
Yeah.
And my family and the people that loved me all around me. You know, I destroyed friendships and families and yeah.
That's awesome. We need more people like you, Warren. Yeah, we really do. And we have the privilege, and we are blessed with having Warren working with us here at AARC, and because we do a lot of work in youth justice as well, you know, we'll have the opportunity to have Warren come out and present workshops and chat with the kids, and you know, there's nothing better than having somebody that's gone through some, like what Warren's sharing, to be able to connect and relate to some of the kids that are going through the same stuff out there. So that's the kind of work that we do, guys, and it's critical, like Warren's saying, if he had had the help or somebody tapped into, you know, there's an issue and know how to communicate that with him at that time, it could have saved him a lot of heartache, grief, and trauma, you know, because you know, having 3 breakdowns and brain surgery. Did you say brain surgery?
Yeah, brain surgery. I never told you that part.
No, what happened?
Yeah, I've got that lump there at the front.
Wow,
That's
what happened?
That's a valve, and at the back there.
Yeah.
I ended up, and
that would have been after ice, I would say, because it actually blocks your the vascular system. And
thank you, and that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
I ended up getting pressure on the brain.
Mm-hmm.
They call it hydrocephalus.
Mm-hmm.
My aqueducts at the back seized up, my ventricles. It was pushing my brain against my skull and down the back. I used to get a lot of neck pain, and I thought it was just because rock and roll, you know, your head banging and stuff. No, it was actually pushing my brain down through the holes in the back, near my spine, and the doctor said if it hits my spine, I just drop dead.
My goodness.
So I used to get these blackouts at work occasionally. I'd wake up in a hospital going, wow, and they're sticking a needle like that in my back, giving me a spinal tap to release the pressure and stuff like this. That happened probably 4 or 5 times, and then after the 5th time I got, you know, the old saying, stupidity is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, maybe I better go and get this seen too. So I went to the doctor, had an MRI. He, cut a long story short, he just looked at me and said, specialist tomorrow. I went to the specialist the next day. As you know, it's always a couple of weeks. He took me straight in, took one look and said, you're booked in next week, we're going to operate.
Wow.
And I'm like,
what?
He goes, well, you either do that or die.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, it's that serious. I'm like, no. He goes, yeah, and everything just hit me.
Wow.
My mum was very old-fashioned. She never swore. She sat across the table, and when I told her that I didn't want to get the surgery, she just looked at me and threw a knife and fork down and said, Warren, don't be a bloody idiot. Excuse the French.
Yeah.
And I just looked at her and I knew that she was serious. And that's when I've gone, okay, it's affecting people around me.
Yeah.
Because I had kids, I'd married, nothing, it didn't twig.
Yeah.
But when I saw Mum say that and my kids look at me going, Dad, can you get it done please? Yeah. Sort of like hit home, and that's when I stopped.
Everything. So how long were you using ice before that?
I really can't put a time limit. It was on and off, on and off, on and off.
You lose time and space in Ice World. I call it Ice World because once you embark on that journey, you not only lose memory, but you kind of lose a sense of that you're kind of living in a different realm, and you lose time. I don't know where it goes. I couldn't remember what time, when I got clean, when I landed, what happened. You know, it was like a big
Like I said,
mess, wasn't
I've
it?
done tours for weeks and
You got nothing.
can't remember a thing.
Wow.
So time does fly, yeah.
So it would have been years that you would have been using.
Oh, it was, yeah. It was
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
years.
yeah.
It probably, okay, if I put a time limit to it, mind you, there was also MDMA thrown in as well.
Yep.
And ecstasy,
Yep.
you know, the Bisco Dickies, like, wow, all that sort of stuff.
Do you know that they're cutting party pills, the MDMAs, and they're cutting them with ice?
Yeah, I
Down
know,
the streets
yeah.
Now, you just need to know that, guys, because if you think, oh, it's just a party pill, just understand that they're cutting that with ice. So you need to know what's in ice and what it's actually going to do to you. We've got two living examples here, but that's incredible that all of that, and then the party pills, and then and the ice as well, and then brain surgery and breakdowns. And so when they told you about the brain surgery, was that when you stopped using everything?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
I just, even smoking.
You came this far to losing your entire life,
Yeah.
which before you didn't care about.
No.
But then all of a sudden something dropped and said, "This is real.
Yep.
I'm actually going to lose my life."
Yep.
Yeah.
When my mother, and I'm not joking, when Mum, bless her soul, when she sat there and said that,
Yeah.
and she had tears in her eyes,
Yeah.
I knew that it was serious.
Yeah.
And I looked at my ex-wife, and she just, I told you so, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, but you got to understand, you can tell me till the cows come home, you're my wife.
Yeah.
But this is my mum, and for her to swear and give me that look that she gave me,
Yeah.
it was just like, wow, I think I've overdone it. You know, like this is 15, 20 years from the first time I started. And now it's only realising that, wow, the effects of what is going on.
Yeah. You woke up for a minute.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
like I said, that was just before Christmas one year. I had the surgery, and then I went through Christmas and New Year's. That New Year's Eve, I stopped everything.
Wow.
Just dropped everything. And smoking, I was smoking a packet and a half a day as well.
Tell us about what happened after that. Like, did you have side effects
Oh yeah,
from not using, and what was that like?
that was terrible. That was.
What was it like?
It was like I was bipolar. I was going up.
Yeah.
I'd be on really highs and then I'd be on really lows. I would be driving down the road and I would get a flashback,
Yeah.
like I was back on it again. It'll only last a second or two.
Yeah.
But I was back on it again, and I'll be driving down and then be like, whoa, and then you could almost have an accident, which I did a couple of times.
Wow. Brings it to your knees, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. My lungs were ruined.
Yeah.
I was a trombone player. I was
Wow.
a state and
Yeah.
national champion trombone player. They were ruined. Everything. My brain patterns. I couldn't think straight. It was like I was living in a cloud again. I couldn't do things normally.
Yeah.
I had to sit there and actually physically think about it.
Yep.
And go, right, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, this is how I used to do it. Yeah, I've got to do it that way.
Yeah.
Just,
It's like learning everything again, isn't it?
It
I remember
is.
when my kids one day said, "Mum, this is weird." Like, they knew I was in early recovery. "This is weird. It's like you're a teenager again. Like, you don't know who you are, and cause you forget everything, and you've got to start again. Like the basic things, even from I remember having a shower and thinking, how did I do my hair? Like, what did I actually do? I couldn't put two and two together. It was like odd at times.
well, I'd drive to work, and I'd get to work, and I'd think, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Where's the last hour gone?
Yeah.
You know that you've driven to work,
Yeah.
but you don't remember it.
Yeah.
Or you'd go on a road trip, and because I used to love getting on my four-wheel drive and just driving out in the middle of nowhere. And I'd be out in the middle of nowhere and go, how did I get here?
Wow.
And I'd have to stop
Yeah. And physically try and
and backtrack.
activate the memory.
That's
Yeah.
exactly correct. That's why GPSs are just
Yeah, I reckon. I followed a navigator, I reckon, for almost 3 years. I couldn't go even up the road without a navigator. I'm like, oh, what?
But that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's you do things, but you don't realise what you've done or how you get there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I found
damage.
worse, because I was still playing music.
Yeah.
And I used to be able to remember, like, Rimsky-Korsakhov's Trombone Concerto, all 15 pages of it off the top of my head, right? In my 30s, I'd be playing guitar and I'd be like, what's that chord again? And I'm a musician, I knew music.
Wow.
And I'd be like, what, oh crikey, I'd have to get the music.
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to be proud of myself that I could just memorise it like that and play it.
I so know what you're saying.
I've only started getting that back.
Yeah, yeah. And how many years have you been in recovery?
I haven't touched anything for like 6 or 7 years.
Woohoo, like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's just like I'm now starting to get all my functions and me back again.
Yeah. It takes a long time. Do you know, music helps. Your neurological pathways get broken down in your brain when you're using ice. And you have gaps. You actually have holes. I've had a scan, and the neurologist saw, there's areas of my brain that are switched off. But I've recreated new neurological pathways around that, and music actually helps build that again. So, we've been blessed to have music, but I so understand. I used to learn scripts for musical theatre, this thick,
That's right.
and I used to learn everybody's line.
Yep.
Somebody dropped a line, I knew it, but I couldn't remember a sentence. And it was like, what? I'm damaged, but that's the reality, isn't it?
Well, you don't think you're damaged, but you get frustrated.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what used to really get under my skin, the frustration of going, I could have done this with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Now, why am I even trying?
Yeah. It's a lot of work, guys, to get back out of ice world, and you still don't come out unscarred. You still have repercussions. You still have side effects, and whether it's slurred speech, bleeding kidneys, brain memory issues. There's always
surgery.
Always side effects. Tell me about your kids. Were they watching Dad destroy himself? Like, how?
Nah, I hid it really well.
Really?
I had 2 lives. 2 lives.
Wow.
Oh, I hid it so well. They had no idea.
I'm just blown away right now. How did you manage to do that? Like, were you angry while you were on ice? Like, some people say,
Look, I was angry all the time.
You get on ice and, you get these anger and violence. I didn't get the anger and violence thing, escalating, bashing people or whatever, but guys tend to get it more so because of serotonin level.
I was angry straight.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
So, and believe it or not, when I was on drugs, I was actually calm.
Yeah.
It had like an opposite effect.
Yeah.
So...
Because you weren't thinking about why you were angry.
That's right. Everything was hidden and it was great. All I was doing was raising my kids.
Yeah.
I would come home, I wouldn't bring anything home, I wouldn't touch any drugs at home.
Wow.
As soon as I went...
Yep. Yeah. Wow. So your kids had no idea?
No, not until I told them about 2 years ago.
Wow.
Everything. And they're 18 and 17 now, my oldest is 21. I told them everything about the molestation, about growing up, about the drugs, the partying, the lockups, because there was quite a few of them in the middle as well.
Okay. Like jail?
Yeah.
Jail.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you do to get there? Like, we need to hear this, Warren, because...
But I'm not proud of it, guys, and it's not something to be laughed about. My anger was the centre of my world, and for me, pick up a bloke and throw him through a glass plate window was nothing. To hit him over the back of the head with a bit of wood was nothing, or a chair or a table, or even just use my fists and beat them to hospitalisation. It was nothing. And that was my biggest problem. that's why I was always off my head
Yeah.
to try and stop that, to try and combat that.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe that, knowing this guy for just this week. He's a gentle, happy, chilled out kind of soul, and brings a lot of balance to our workplace. So I'm hearing you say this when I'm going, what? You? Really? So
Yeah.
this is like all that stuff, that's where it takes you? That's...
I had a warrant in Queensland over my head for 7 years and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
Because what happened, I lived up here, then I moved back to New South.
Yep.
Moved back up here again, and I was driving down the back of Wollongary and the police passed me. Lights on, turn around, I'm like, I'm doing the speed limit, I'm doing everything correct, you know. And they pulled me out, slapped me on the boot, bang, put the cuffs on me, you're coming with me. And I'm like, what for? And they've got, well, you've had an outstanding warrant since blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. That was violence, you know what I mean? It was violence that fueled everything. And I didn't know it at the time because I was always too...
Off your head.
Off my head, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly right. So that's why they never knew.
Yeah.
I was cranky, yeah. My kids had boundaries. On my oath, they still do. They're respectful, they're in honours classes, and I've raised them for the last 8 years by myself.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean, like it has its benefits and stuff like that, and it has helped them out because it's hidden them from all the pitfalls of being on drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't touch it.
Yeah.
They don't even drink.
Yeah.
They don't smoke. They don't,
Yeah. They saw what happened to their dad. It's like my daughter
That's
goes
right.
one day,
Yep.
one of their friends, they were going to get some stuff and party up, and she said, what is it? And she goes, oh, it's this ice stuff. And it wasn't really out, in the media. This is 7 years ago. And she said, sit down. And she said, did you not see what happened to my mum? Are you an idiot? And so she was able to share with these
Yep.
friends about what happened. And so because of that, none of them touched it. And I thought, oh wow, thank God, that going through, seeing what families went through, they were impacted in a positive way. So this is why we share these stories, and this is why we share, what was going on for us, so that you can understand. We might laugh or whatever about it, but it's not a funny matter. And the long-term consequences is not a funny matter that we're left with. So we just want to warn you guys out there, and especially the kids. And if we're talking to you, and you're the one that's in addiction today, there is light at the end of the tunnel if you want to come out, if it's not too late. Yeah, Warren, almost lost his life. I almost lost my life. We just skimmed by, and if that's you, you're slowly putting poison. It's actually poison. If you see some of the chemicals that go into ice, like Drano and acetone, and you might say you don't care because you're not thinking straight right now, but when it comes to the crunch and you're about to lose your life, you actually do care, and your life can be a life worth living, like ours, and we're here to help you because we've had somebody help us, and all you need to do is send us a private message on Facebook and say, hey, I need some help, and we'll connect with you and start chatting, and get a buddy for you, like one of us, and we'll help have a cup of coffee and start your journey into recovery. Okay, it can do it. It's
But
not impossible.
remember, you will not be judged.
That's right.
And that is the biggest thing. You won't be judged.
How can you judge somebody when you could be judged yourself? You know what I mean? So we've been places that you've been. We've travelled that road. So it's not about judgment at all. But we're here to help you get a life that you love.
Yep.
And get well again, because it is a sickness. It becomes, it's destroying your body, it's destroying your family, it's destroying the people that love you, it's destroying your future. So, you wouldn't sit there and drink a bottle of Drano, so why are you going to do ice and, some of these other drugs?
So look, if we had the education back then, I know if I had,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done half the stuff.
Yeah, Yeah, because you get think twice, man, do I want that? When we talk about some of our journey in the classroom, it's like, hey guys, wait a minute, does this sound like fun to you? And, the kids are like, well, no. Well, think a million times, we're not telling you not to do drugs, but when it gets offered to you, think about what I'm telling you. And just remember, does these pictures look like, you want to look like that? Do you want to end up, with long-term issues internally and in your brain and depression up and down and years of working at retaining memory and I don't even know if people get normal again. I don't know yet, but what's normal anyway. But
That's right.
There's a whole heap of stuff that lives in the negative realm that you don't want to, and you don't need to experience. Life you can change your life into a positive one.
Yes.
Warren, I know that you're doing music again, and
yes.
You have where did I put it? Did I leave it up there, Mum?
Oh, no, I didn't bring it in for that.
Oh, come on.
I'm bringing it in just for you to have a listen.
I know, but I want to share it. Thank you. Warren has produced a work in progress, a CD, and I was like twisting his arm going, come on, can we please sell it on our web? He's like, no. It's awesome, guys. It's about his journey through his life, and I encourage you to get a copy. We will be having it for sale on our shop. Yes. And all the proceeds will go towards helping us educate more youth on the dangers of ice and other drugs. Yeah. So I can't wait to crank this up in my car and get your copy, or you can get highway instruction as well. You can get two and help twice as much. So you can do that at our shop. Warren, is there any last minute messages that you want to go send, because we are going to wrap up in a minute? This is an opportunity for you, to share your heart out there. Any last minute messages that you want to share with either families or people that might be in addiction or youth contemplating using drugs, like.
Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Just be supportive. Just be supportive and don't judge. That was the biggest stigma that I ever felt, was being judged. That's why I never asked for help. Yeah. If I asked for help, even when I knew I did have a problem in my mid-20s or so, it didn't matter. I still abused it for another 10 years after that. Save yourself a lot of time, effort and grief, and families, please don't judge. Just help, guide them, whatever. That's what they need more than anything. Yeah. Let them talk, let them get it out.
That's awesome.
That's all I can suggest, and education.
Yeah. Guys, Warren, that's awesome. Guys, if you are a family member and you don't know how to have that conversation with your kids, we do have some training available on our website. It's called Sammy Brief. It's put together by Optimal Health Group, who have been training drug and alcohol counsellors for over 30 years. It is available there. You can just click on a button. You do it online. It's 2 hours. It teaches you about the cycle of addiction. It talks about contemplation stage when somebody's abusing substance. It talks about how to have that a cost versus the benefits conversation. And so you can actually be equipped with some training through that platform. And if you want to go on to do further training, we do have dual diagnosis training, which is about 3/4 of a certificate for an AOD. So AOD being alcohol and other drugs. So you can actually do some training online. That's like a 2-day training, 16 hours or something, but you actually can do that online at your own pace. So that's also available on our webpage. So that's www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. And if you're a parent, and I really encourage you to get trained up, understand, come along to a community forum that we hold in your state or area, but get equipped on how to recognise that somebody may be abusing substance, going through trauma or mental health issues. It's an important part of parenting today, because it's not like it used to be. Drugs are out there. People are masking it. Every second person's popping something, and you want to be aware and educate your kids from lived experience, preferably, but expose them to the truth. Okay, in love, and before it's too late.
In love, that's right.
Yeah.
In love.
Not judgment.
That's
in
right.
love. So
That's it.
it's I just urge you to really get informed and get trained up and get equipped to be able to help not only your kids, might be your nieces, your nephews, or people around you that you love. So it's 2 hours of your life. So I encourage you to do that today. Guys, Brad, do we have any questions?
No, it's keeping on. There's been a lot of chat today, but no major questions here.
Okay. Well, we have our care team online that are answering questions that you may have. Guys, if you have any questions for Warren, please ask them, and we'll just tag him into the page so that he can answer your questions. And yeah, even private message us. And don't forget, if you need help, please get in touch with us. If you're a family member and you need some support, we have clinical counsellors that have had lived experience, and they're here to support you. And also our buddies, if you're in addiction and want to create a pathway out, give us a call. Our phone number is 1-800-NO-TO-ICE. That's 1-800-NO-TOICE. It is down at the moment. We're having some issues, so temporarily for the next 24 hours you can contact us on 0481 844 555 or private message us and we'll call you back. Warren, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
You're welcome.
Really, really appreciate you opening your heart and sharing your story. It's a big deal. I want to teach you something. I have to teach everyone before they leave the show. This is our kind of cool, like, I didn't make it up, it was one of the youth, right? You have to do it, and you have to do it on stage when you're doing music next, okay? This is not even once. Not even once, guys, our message. Love you guys. Have a good night, stay safe, stay clean.
Cheers.